A story about power, pride, and the choices that shape a life. It's about a man named Saul. He was the very first king of Israel, chosen by God, loved by the people, but in the end, his crown didn't save him. This is the story of the rise and fall of King Saul. Long ago, Israel didn't have a king. They were led by prophets, wise people chosen by God to guide them. But the people weren't happy. They looked around and saw other nations with kings, armies, thrones, and they wanted that too. So they went to the prophet Samuel and said, "Give us a king like everyone else has." Samuel warned them, "A king will take your sons for war, your daughters for labor, your land and your freedom." But the people insisted. God told Samuel, "Give them what they want, and I've chosen someone." That someone was Saul, a tall, handsome man from a small tribe called Benjamin. He didn't come from royalty. In fact, he was out looking for his father's lost donkeys when Samuel found him. Samuel took Saul aside, anointed his head with oil, and said, "God has chosen you to be king." At first, Saul was shocked. "Me? I'm nobody." But soon things started to change. When the time came, Saul stood before the people, and he looked the part. Tall, strong, confident. The people cheered. "Long live the king!"
Long live the king!
At first, Saul was a great leader. He brought together the tribes, built an army, and led Israel to victory against its enemies. He was brave, charismatic. The people loved him. But being king is never easy, and soon cracks began to show. One day, Saul's army was about to face a powerful enemy. But before battle, they needed God's blessing. Only Samuel, the prophet, could offer the proper sacrifice. Saul waited and waited. But Samuel was late. The soldiers were getting scared. Some started to run away. So Saul took matters into his own hands. He offered the sacrifice himself. Just as he finished, Samuel arrived, and he was not happy. "What have you done?" Samuel said. "You disobeyed God. You didn't trust him. Because of this, your kingdom won't last." Later, God gave Saul another command. Defeat the Amalekites and destroy everything. Every soldier, every animal, everything. It was harsh, but it was a clear order. Saul won the battle, but he didn't follow through. He spared the enemy king and kept the best sheep and cattle. When Samuel showed up, Saul said, "I did what God said." But Samuel pointed to the sheep. "Then why do I hear animals? You didn't obey, and obedience is better than sacrifice." It was a turning point. Samuel told Saul that God had rejected him as king. From that day on, something changed in Saul. God's spirit left him. In its place came a deep darkness, jealousy, fear, and rage. Meanwhile, God was preparing someone new, a young shepherd named David. When David killed the giant Goliath and became a war hero, Saul's jealousy exploded. He tried to kill David, chased him, hunted him like an enemy. Even though David was loyal and never tried to hurt him, Saul became obsessed, paranoid, distracted. He lost the trust of his people. Even his own son, Jonathan, who loved David, couldn't understand his father's anger. Years later, with the kingdom in turmoil and enemies closing in, Saul was desperate. God was silent. So he did the unthinkable. He visited a witch, hoping to speak with the spirit of Samuel, who had long since died. Samuel's ghost told him the truth. "You disobeyed God. Tomorrow you and your sons will be with me." The next day, Israel went to war against the Philistines. Saul's sons were killed, wounded and surrounded. Saul fell on his own sword rather than be captured. The first king of Israel, the man who started with so much promise, died a tragic death. Saul's story is a warning. He was chosen, he was gifted. But in the end, it wasn't talent or looks that mattered. It was obedience, trust, humility. Power can lift a person high, but pride can bring them crashing down. And that's the story of King Saul, Israel's first king. This is a reminder that leadership begins not with a crown, but with a heart willing to listen. Thanks for watching. If you found this story meaningful, consider exploring the stories of David, Samuel, or other figures from this time. There's a lot more to discover.